The Attitude Era featured a number of superstars who entertained the fans with their personas and wrestling skills. Sadly, some of them are no longer with us. Here are 12 WWE Attitude Era wrestlers who passed on. Number 1. Test. Wrestling legend has it Andrew Test Martin got his role in one of the Attitude Era's defining angles largely because of his resemblance to Triple H. After debuting on Raw as a bodyguard for Rocker's Motley Crue, Test began wrestling, working as a member of Mr. McMahon's corporation. Eventually, he began a storyline romance with Stephanie McMahon that led to the iconic storyline where Triple H drugged Stephanie and married her instead. Test unfortunately got shoved to the sidelines, and while he stayed as a mid-card to upper-card act, his career never went further. After a run in TNA, he announced his retirement in 2007. On the 14th of March 2009, his body was discovered in his Florida condominium. Ironically, he commented for the 2007 interview for the documentary The Circus, Live Fast, Die Young, about many wrestlers' early deaths. "I just turned 32 years old and went to 8 funerals this year. Do I want to join that club? Hell no, I don't want to join that club. So either you clean up, straighten up, or lay down beside them." Martin died from an overdose of oxycodone. He was just days away from his 34th birthday. Number 2. Luna Vachon. In a world of pretty girls, Luna Vachon chose to stand out with an exotic look, portraying a maniacal and aptly named wrestler named Luna Vachon. The second-generation superstar trained with the fabulous Moolah and her aunt wrestler Vivian Vachon before transitioning from a shy reporter Trudy Heard into Kevin Sullivan's crazed companion Luna Vachon, complete with one half of her head shaved. She would find work in the WWF as a valet and wrestler during the new generation, but arguably had her best years during the Attitude Era, where her exotic look and wild demeanour made her a perfect fit for roles such as the artist formerly known as Goldust Valet and a member of the Oddities stable. Luna was released from the WWF in 2000 due to creative differences and found work on the indie circuit through 2007. She retired from wrestling and battled drug addiction, attending WWE-sponsored rehab in 2008. Sadly, her battles only worsened, and her mother discovered her body on the 27th of August 2010. A toxicology report indicated Luna had died from a drug overdose. She was only 48. Number 3. Viscera. Whether you called him Mabel, Viscera, or Big Daddy V, there was no mistaking Nelson Frazier Jr. in the ring with his height and girth. His WWF career began as the rap-themed Team Men on a Mission as Mabel. Vince McMahon's need for a monster heel saw Mabel win the 1995 King of the Ring, arguably one of wrestling's low points, particularly since Mabel was prone to injuring opponents. Eventually, his wrestling improved enough where he wasn't a liability to his opponents, and the WWF utilized the big man until his release in 2008. A run on the indie circuit and All Japan Pro Wrestling lasted through 2013. He retired and began his post-wrestling life in Memphis, Tennessee, where he lived with his wife. He was a beloved figure backstage and seen as one of wrestling's kindest souls. On the 18th of February 2014, he died of a heart attack at the age of 43. His wife filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the WWE, but the case was dismissed. Number 4. Chyna. After struggling to find a career that matched her goal of happiness, Joanie Laurer pursued a career in professional wrestling, hungry for the fame that came with it. Her size, ability and look was a mixed blessing. While Shawn Michaels and Triple H thought she would make a great addition to their faction D-Generation X, Vince McMahon was uncertain that male wrestlers would sell for her. She was about to join WCW as the first female member of the NWO when Vince McMahon changed his mind, bringing her into the WWF. Soon, Chyna transformed into a force unto herself, becoming the first female to compete in the Royal Rumble and the first female Intercontinental Champion. Sadly, personal demons and a star-crossed love triangle between Laura, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon saw her departure from the WWF, and her substance abuse problems worsened. A 22nd December 2016 newspaper article reported toxicology tests indicated that Chyna, whose real name was Joan Marie Laura, had taken a mix of alcohol and diazepam. which is marketed as Valium, Nordiazepam, Oxycodone, Oxymorphone, and Temazepam, a medication used to treat insomnia, according to a Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner report. For more information on the life and death of Joni Laura, check out our Behind the Titantron on the 9th wonder of the world. Number 5. The Big Boss Man. Ray Traylor was a big man capable of moving like a much lighter wrestler, with his size and wrestling ability keeping him in demand in the WWF as the Big Boss Man, and in WCW under a slew of names including The Boss, The Guardian Angel, and Ray Traylor. As the Big Boss Man, Traylor was involved in some of the Attitude Era's most bizarre angles, including a Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker where he was hanged by the Brood, the infamous Hell in a Kennel match with Al Snow, and a feud with The Big Show that featured the infamous angle where Traylor stole The Big Show's father's coffin during a kayfabe funeral. Traylor died from a heart attack on the 22nd of September 2004 at the age of only 44. In 2016, he was inducted posthumously into the WWE Hall of Fame. Number 6. Man and Komlos. Part of the appeal of the Attitude Era was that it had spots from everyone from mid-carders to main eventers. But that doesn't mean every angle was well received. Such was the case when the WWF introduced Beaver Cleavage, a twisted turn on the classic sitcom Leave It to Beaver, with wrestler Beaver Cleavage having a busty mum who paid a little bit too much attention to him. The angle was ill thought and was dropped via a work shoot with Mrs. Cleavage revealed as Chaz's girlfriend. Things didn't get much better as Mariana falsely claimed Chaz was beating her during a storyline between the two. The WWF released her and she resumed a career in bodybuilding and as a fitness model. She married MMA fighter and stunt double Paul Lazenby in 2004, only to die the same year from breast cancer. She was only 35. Number 7. Brian Pillman. In a world populated by crazy characters, Brian Pillman stood head and shoulders above the rest, with his real-life reputation as the loose cannon only exceeded by his reputation as one of wrestling's finest workers. After tricking Eric Bischoff into signing his WCW release, his WWF career seemed to be headed far, despite an auto accident that reduced his famed agility and aerial abilities. None of that mattered though, when Pillman's body was discovered just hours before the 5th October 1997 Bad Blood in Your House pay-per-view where he was scheduled to wrestle. After a lifetime of successfully overcoming setbacks such as childhood cancer and the motor vehicle accident that nearly ended his career, Pillman unexpectedly died from a heart attack at just age 35. Unbeknownst to Pillman, he suffered from the same heart disease that took his father's life. Number 8. Crash Holly. Wrestling's ironically nicknamed super heavyweight carried a scale to the ring despite his small stature, working as a member of the Holly family alongside kayfabe cousins Hardcore Holly and Molly Holly. Real name Michael Lockwood fared well in the WWF, holding the WWF Tag Team Championship with Hardcore Holly, winning the Hardcore Championship 22 times and holding the European and Light Heavyweight Championship 1 time each. Following his 2003 release from the WWE, he worked briefly for TNA during its phase as a weekly pay-per-view. Lockwood was going through a divorce when his body was discovered at his friend and fellow wrestler Stevie Richards' home. His death was ruled as a suicide, as an empty pill bottle and partially consumed bottle of alcohol were found next to him. He was only 32. Number 9 and number 10. The Public Enemy. Although they were best known for their run in ECW, Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge's career as the table-breaking Team Public Enemy saw them work in WCW and the WWF. Backstage politics would kill their WWF career, but that didn't stop their appearances elsewhere. The Public Enemy continued wrestling until Rocco Rock's 21st September 2002 death from a heart attack. On the 16th February 2006, Johnny Grunge's corpse was discovered in his home. A 2007 ESPN story noted, the autopsy report attributed Durham's death to heart disease and obesity, and cited a significant condition of acute toxicity of corizaprodol and hydrocodone, a potent mix of muscle relaxants and narcotic painkillers. Number 11. Nicole Bass. An exotic look and size can help an individual become a wrestler, but there's no guarantee of success, something bodybuilder Nicole Bass discovered when she entered the WWF following a stint in ECW. The WWF released Bass, and she subsequently filed a lawsuit alleging wrongful termination as well as sexual harassment by backstage official Steve Lombardi. However, the case was dismissed in 2003. Bass continued appearing on the indie scene and was known for her appearances on The Howard Stern Show. Bass died from a stroke on the 17th of February 2017 at the age of 52. And number 12. Louie Spicolli. Spicolli's career was the epitome of a wrestler getting over on sheer drive. Despite his short height, Spicolli's work rate made him one of wrestling's most in-demand jobbers, with the WWF actually flying him around the country to perform. Spicolli restyled himself in Mexico's AAA promotion as Madonna's boyfriend, before hitting the WWF as Rad Radford, a wannabe body donor with obvious weight issues. However, Spicolli's battles with drug abuse led to his dismissal from the WWF. A run in WCW offered hope for a career revival, but a drug relapse ended it, as well as his life. On the 15th February 1998, his body was discovered in his home. He reportedly died from a heart attack due to an enlarged heart, possibly caused by his ingesting somas and wine. He was the youngest on this list at only 27 years old at the time of his death.